Hi, Brett Johnson here with OneMedRadio in New York City. Today we are with Ray Briscuso. He is the CEO of AdvaMed 2012, which has become one of the preeminent medical technology conferences in the world. Its sixth conference will be coming up in Boston, first time in Boston in October. Ray, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
So, Ray, 5 years of success and growth in D.C. Now you're making the move to Boston. Can you tell us a little bit about what's behind that?
Yes. We, as you mentioned, we've had 5 years. We've had growth every year. Been very excited by that. But, we stopped and asked ourselves how many local medical device manufacturers or diagnostic companies there are in Washington, D.C. The answer really is pretty easy. There are none. There's a lot of lobbying offices there and so forth, but we thought that we should take it to a cluster, and the Boston community welcomed us with open arms. It's probably the world's leading life science cluster. It's the home of, many leading companies, Covidien and Philips, Boston Scientific, AdvaMed, J&J, DePuy's got a big facility there, Smith & Nephew's big up there, Bard's up there. It's just it's too important of an area for us to not consider, and this year we'll take the conference there October 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Terrific. So what are sort of the major themes of the conference or the major kind of components of the AdvaMed 2012 conference?
Great question. There are several components of it that are very consistent. We always bring the latest and trends as far as the policy changes and what's happened at the FDA. We know we have to educate people as to how their business needs to change to keep up with new regulations, and so we have a large regulatory component of the conference. We have a major reimbursement component. We talk about coding payment and getting reimbursed paid for your product. We go into the latest areas in compliance and legal, and we have a huge business development piece of the business, so that if you're looking for investment, if you're looking for collaborative licensing deals, in-licensing, out-licensing, exit strategies, we provide all that. And I think, the important thing is it's tough for companies in this industry. You can't go to a reimbursement conference one day and then a reimbursement the next and then a legal the following. So we actually do everything at once. We bring the entire industry, the large strategics, the early stage, the investors, the angels, the private equity, all together for 3 days of a concentrated business development, educational, and networking.
Mm-hmm. So I know that creating a platform for some of the promising companies with technologies to network with strategic partners has been a big thrust for you guys. Can you talk a little bit about how that whole business development track and program works and how that's evolved over the years?
Yes, we'd be happy to. What we've done there is we started out with really going to the large strategics and talking to them about how attractive they are. The small companies want to meet them, and luckily we're the conference is part of AdvaMed, the trade association, which is 38 years old. And we have 22 of the 25 largest device manufacturers as members. We have all 10 of the 10 largest diagnostic companies. So we've got about 65 members that do more than $100 million a year in sales in the U.S. alone. And we talked to them about how, with the capital markets being tight, companies are looking for more aggressive ways to meet the strategics, to talk about partnering, licensing, investment deals, and basically said to them we wanted them to commit sending their business development teams to the conference. And if they would do that once a year, we would efficiently allow them to meet potential partners that might come from Cambridge, Massachusetts, or Cambridge, England, or from Irvine, California, or from Mountain View, or from Alachua, Florida, or from New Zealand, Australia. And they like the idea of trying to come to one spot and doing lots of meetings rather than traveling all over the world. So we actually have part of the conference. We build out about 45 little meeting rooms, little suites, if you will, with tables and chairs, and the large strategics will come, and they can literally go from one 30-minute meeting to another. So in 2 hours they met with 4 companies. And, it goes both ways. If you're a small orthopedic company and you want to meet with Stryker and Zimmer and Biomet and DePuy, it means you can come to one place and meet with all of them, as well as potential angel VCs and private equity. So it's a major thrust of the conference. It's grown considerably. Last year we did, I think, 960 of these little 30-minute meetings, and we certainly anticipate that will significantly grow in Boston.
Terrific. Now, another element, I know you had a chance for smaller companies, to present to at the conference. You had actually a presentation track for growth companies. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yes, we work with those same strategics, and we break them down by segments. So we might have an ophthalmic section, and we'll have one of the leading ophthalmology companies, maybe Abbott, their AMO division, or we'll have Alcon or someone that will speak for a few minutes about the sector, and then we'll have 6 to 8 to 10 early-stage ophthalmic companies each get up and make 10-minute presentations. And the thought is that the audience is really full of people that are interested in that particular sector. And then we might then bring in somebody from an orthopedic company, maybe Zimmer, will stand up and speak for a little bit, and then we might have the same thing, 6, 8, 10, 12 orthopedic companies will all present for 10 minutes, and we run those for 2 full days, and we pretty much hit the major sectors of the industry, from diagnostic to ophthalmic to orthopedic to tools to you name it. We try to give people an opportunity, and last year we had probably about 60 of these spots, and hopefully this next year we're going to try to grow it, provide more. There's a tremendous demand for those opportunities, so we welcome people if they're interested to go online and look at our website and apply, and hopefully they'll have a chance to present.
Terrific. So now you do get some. It looks like you get a number of different countries that have come. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening internationally and how you guys are appealing to the international markets?
Yes, be glad to. There are a large number of obviously countries that have a large concentration of medical device businesses, and we've often been able to deal then with economic trade offices that will bring delegations of companies that are looking to either enter the U.S. market, or they're looking to find partners in the U.S., or they're looking to license technology to introduce back in their regions. But we've traditionally had delegations from the U.K., from New Zealand, from Israel, from Canada. We've had Brazilian delegations. We get a delegation every year from Switzerland. And, of course, we get a lot of just small individual companies that come on their own, but we've been very fortunate that there have been concerted groups from some of these countries. We had a French delegation as well, and they'll be coming back again. I think we'll have a German delegation this year. So for any of your listeners that are outside the U.S., there's often a way for them to come part of a delegation that often includes additional benefits, usually stuff at the embassy or sometimes to get financial help. And we're interested in making the conferences as international as possible because people are doing business all over the world. Some of our sessions and educational sessions do deal with non-U.S. issues. We've had speakers from NICE. We've had from the UK. We've had NHS. We've had ministers from Canada, part of the conference, French ministers, Chinese officials, FDA officials from China, Japan. So it's a very efficient one place, one time, come and learn about industry all over the world.
Now, you've really done an excellent job over the years in getting some truly brand name, very prominent keynote speakers. It seems to me you've had, I think the last 3 presidents have been participants in the conference. Do you expect to keep that trend alive?
We absolutely will do that because I think the hallmark of our conference is that we attract the CEOs of the big companies. And people consistently tell us that what they like most about coming to our conference is they can actually talk to the CEOs and the heads of business development. And we're able to keep those people at the conference by having the FDA commissioners, followed by the CMS administrators, followed by a Bill Clinton or a George Bush. And, yes, we've had the last 3 presidents. This year I think we'll actually go outside the U.S. We're looking at bringing a head of state from another major strategically important country. And people can count on having world-class plenary speakers at the conference.
Terrific. And I know that you've also done recent conferences. You tend to have some excellent networking sessions, often connected to some of the embassies. I guess that's easier to do in D.C. Do you expect to continue to have some networking sessions this year in and around the Boston area? And can you talk a little bit about the venue?
Yes, the venue is fantastic. It's a relatively new convention and exhibition center in Boston. directly connected to a beautiful Westin and other hotels, and it's a short walk to the waterfront. So we're looking at some fantastic venues. For instance, the flagship restaurant of Legal Seafoods will probably be one of our venues, but it'll allow you to literally be there on the Boston Harbor, but you'll turn to your left, and hopefully you'll have a top executive from a company you want to talk to, and to your right you'll have somebody from a venture or angel or a private equity fund. So I can assure you that the Boston community is going to make sure that nobody's upset that we left Washington, D.C. We'll leave no stone unturned and make it as valuable as possible for networking, educational, and business development opportunities.
Well, that sounds absolutely terrific, and we look forward to learning more as you get closer to the conference with some more updates here on OneMedRadio about some of the developments and some of the programming advances. Thanks for joining us today, Ray.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much, Brett.
So that was Ray Briscuso, who is CEO of AdvaMed 2012, and they're talking about the 6th annual conference, which this year will be in Boston, Massachusetts, on the 1st to the 2nd of October. Brett Johnson in New York with OneMedRadio, signing off.